gonna teach you guys how to do a chain stitch, which is the stitch that I use for the majority of my projects. I have an embroidery needle with my floss. I'm using all 6 strands, and I just put it in to where, like, I looped it, I put it through the loop and have just a little bit hanging out like this, but then there's a long strand right here, and I have a knot tied at this end right there, so just somewhere at the end. And I'm going to be embroidering this scalloped pattern onto this roof, and so I'm going to start by poking my needle through the back. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just pull it all the way through until it hits that knot that's at the back, and then I'm going to put it back down through right about where it came up, so right about in the same place as where I brought it up. I'm holding this strand over here, and while I pull it up, that's just going to help me guide the needle back through, because I want to leave about this much left out of it. And I'm going to take my needle and poke it back up through about just a little bit, still on the line, just a little ways down from where the initial thread was. And you're just going to pull that tight, and then you're going to come back down right in there. So right where the thread is coming out from the bottom, put it down through again, and then remember to hold that piece of floss right there, and then come back up through the middle. And always pull the thread or the floss in the direction that you're moving. So since it's a curve, I'm not going to pull it straight down towards me. I'm going to pull it with just a little bit towards the right so that I can get that nice curve. So I'm going to pull it this way because this is the way that the curve is going. And then I'm going back in through this way, up through. So once you come to the end of your thread, when you're starting to run out, finish that last stitch that you did. Give it a pull, and then you're going to take your needle and stick it right on the edge of that stitch that you just did. Loop it around the actual loop part and push it straight through. And then you're going to tighten it, and that's just going to hold that last stitch down really nicely. And then flip it over. And when I finish a stitch, I like to go loop it back through some of the past ones, just for extra security. And then what you can do to finish it off is loop it back through one, and then bring your needle through this loop right here. Loop it under, and that just ties a little knot. And then I like to do that in a few places, just to make sure that nothing comes unraveled. And this is why you want to leave a good bit of thread at the end so that you're able to tie those knots without having any problems. And then just make sure that you cut that thread off so that you're ready to start your new spot. And then you start it just the same way that we did the last time.